Welcome back. A new analysis from the Cook County Treasurer finds the property tax appeal system is benefiting business at the expense of residential homeowners. That study finds that residential owners are shouldering more of a burden because commercial properties are successfully appealing their property taxes and getting their rates reduced. The study found a $2 billion increase to residential, which represents about 7% versus a 12% reduction for commercial and business. And joining us now is Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas to talk about this study from her office and what's being done to address these concerns. Treasurer Pappas, always good to talk to you. We need to remind viewers that this whole system is that when you get your property taxes, it's set by the assessor, the rate. If you don't like them, you can go appeal. Business is going to appeal far more than residential, but what happens is the residential homeowners have to pick up that slack. Why is this happening?
It's happening because the system is sort of set up so that, let's say that you're a law firm and you have to make fees because, you've got a couple kids in college. Really, you're going to go to the Willis Tower or Water Tower where taxes went up $5 million. From 10 million, they went up to 15 million, and you're going to try and get those taxes reduced on a commercial piece of property. Why would you go to Englewood when somebody's taxes only went up $1,000? It's what is your fee? The fee on the residences aren't nearly as high in these low-income neighborhoods as they are in wealthy neighborhoods, in white neighborhoods, and on commercial buildings. Willis Tower and Water Tower are the perfect examples.
So we should
if you
say
can make $200,000 appealing on a fee, Water Tower or Willis Tower, why would you go to a residence where you can only make $100? It's pretty simple.
You're talking about the property tax attorneys. This is their business. It used to be what Mike Madigan did, what Ed Burke did. They want the big business clients where they can go reduce their property taxes before the Board of Review. So that leaves Joe and Ann homeowner kind of out in the lurch.
The Joe homeowner out in the lurch, especially as the study shows, people making under $15,000 a year, they don't even know that they can appeal. They have no idea what the appeal process is. So they get this postcard in the mail from the assessor that says the value of your home went from $300,000 to $400,000. That's a $100,000 increase. And they look at it and they say, okay, hey, you know what? That's good. The price of my home went up. It doesn't connect that the price of the assessment going up would then mean that the taxes are also going to go up. So it doesn't dawn on them until they get the bill, and then it's too late to appeal. But even if they had the ability to appeal, in the very beginning, when the assessor gives them the postcard that says your house went up this much, people are crazed, Paris. They are running around trying to get their kids to school, figure out tuition. They come into the office with copies of medical bills, electrical bills, telephone bills, gas bills, and they just feel inundated. This process of appealing one's taxes means, in most cases, that you have to come downtown on a bus or a train. A lot of people don't want to come downtown. They think they're going to get accosted somehow or another on a plane, on a train or a bus. They just don't want to come into the city. My office is the perfect example. We used to have 500,000 people a year come in. We don't even get 22,000 a year because everyone's online. So how would this homeowner who now has to figure out how to pay college tuition, how to get their kids to after school plays, sports programs, maybe the husband is sick, have to get him to a doctor. How do you fit into that? Being able to go downtown and appeal your taxes.
All right,
it's just not in their frame of reference.
And one of those main avenues of appeal is you go to the Board of Review, which has 3 commissioners. We spoke to one of those commissioners, Samantha Steele, about why their Board of Review is giving so many breaks to business at the expense of residential. Take a listen.
We're finding is the majority of the appeals are being settled at the board, both residential and commercial. And while commercial properties do hold a higher assessed value, right, they pay a lot more taxes in a commercial business than a regular residential, that portion is shifting onto residential taxpayers because they're not appealing at the rate that the commercial property owners are appealing.
Okay, just what you're saying, you know, the commercial property peelers are going to appeal, and a certain percentage of them are having success. And as we know, the tax levy is one fixed rate, so that money's got to come from somewhere. So how do you improve this?
You know, look, me, I have no control over either one of these offices. In fact, the county board doesn't have control over them. They're independently elected officials. I can make recommendations, say, you know what, you guys ought to have the same formula. But at the end of the day, they get to do what they want. So at the end of the day, the issue is the other study that we did. 20% of the people in the entire city of Chicago voted in the last mayoral election. But you know what, Paris? 80% of the people are complaining about everything that's happening. So I say this to you, if you don't like it, quit complaining, get up, get out, go vote. And when you vote, be intelligent about who you vote for. Because if you don't like what's happening, you allowed it to happen. I get on the elevator every day in my building. Complain, 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 complain. 80% of the time, I say to the person I'm on the elevator with, did you vote? No. Did you vote? No. I can walk down the street. My taxes are too high. Did you vote? No. If you have an electorate that is so discouraged that they don't feel that it will do any good if they get out and vote, and then you have that same electorate who says, you know what? I don't know how to appeal my property taxes. I don't have time. There's absolutely a sense of apathy about anything at all that has anything at all to do with government.
People get to vote for...
Feel hopeless about things changing.
And they get to vote for Board of Review. They have to vote for those commissioners. They got to vote for the assessor. Let's hear what Assessor Kagi said about this real quick.
Other recommendation that should be added to what the treasurer said is the Inspector General of Cook County has recommended that the board review adopt the same kind of ethics code that we have that forbids campaign contributions from property tax appeals lawyers. They said that that represents a vulnerability and raises a suspicion of a conflict of interest.
All right, Treasurer Pappas, we have about 20 seconds here, but what about that? Is there a potential conflict of interest where, you know, you're giving money to these Board of Review commissioners and maybe they cut you a break?
You know what? Look, what's the difference between taking money from lawyers and taking money from people who own the buildings? I want to know what the difference is. If you're going to tell people you can't take money from the lawyers, you know what, Kagi? You are not allowed to take money from anybody who owns a building in the city. That would be fair, wouldn't it? So, you know, let's be fair. No lawyers, no building owners.
All right. Treasurer Pappas, thanks for joining us. You'd never mince words, and we appreciate it. And it's a very interesting study.
Always good to see you, Paris.
Always good to see you, too.
And the guys in my office who put this study together,
Hal Dardick.
Leidy, and Chris Silber are much smarter than I am.
You've got a great staff.
Up to it.
You've got a great staff doing a lot of work in there, and taxpayers need to pay attention. All right, thanks very much. And finally, tonight, we want this show to be a two-way conversation, so send us your thoughts. Like what you see, don't like what you see. Is there something we need to cover? Let us know. Email us at parisonpolitics@fox.com, or you can always find me on X at Paris Schutz. And now you can get the show anywhere you stream podcasts. New episodes drop Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So always keep up with all the news you need to know at fox32chicago.com and with the Fox Local app. And we'll see you on Wednesday.